But I thought I'll just leave a few points that have inspired me in this journey of supporting technology entrepreneurs and ventures. And that's to sort of go back in maybe 70 years' time to how possibly the South San Francisco area will have looked like. And I mean, I'm not old enough to have seen it myself back then. I'm 42. But it wouldn't have looked very different from how the Chennai's industrial region and the broader Tamil Nadu's industrial base looks like today, right? So in that analogy, I'm just trying to draw our attention to the point that if there is a state that has a shot at becoming the California of India, then it has to be Tamil Nadu. So possibly turbocharging Tamil Nadu is the best topic that we could have come up with, to just put all our combined might and resources to push forward this vision of becoming a $1 trillion economy by 2030. And to go slightly deeper into that analogy, right? If you go back in time to the 50s and in the 60s, this was time after the World War when a lot of US government funding was going into the NASAs and the DARPAs of the world. And it was also around the same time that the Hewlett-Packards and the IBMs and the Fairchild Semiconductors and the Westinghouses and the GEs and the Honeywells and the very top industrial companies of US were putting a lot of money into academic research institutions like the Harvards and the MITs and the Stanfords and the Berkeleys of the world. And they were not only sort of looking at scientific research and development of technology, of breakthrough technologies, they were really looking at how to commercialize and translate all of these research outputs into products, into ventures, into businesses, into profits, and so on and so forth, right? So this lab to market translation was at the very epicenter of everything that happened in and around San Francisco, what we call Silicon Valley. But the fabled Silicon Valley, we talk about the venture capitalists, is a very recent phenomenon. It's a 45-year-old phenomenon. It possibly started in the 70s when a lot of Wall Street money wanted to find assets which could return upwards of 20% IRR over a 5-year, 7-year fund cycle. But prior to that, in the 50s, 60s, and the 70s, and what predated venture capitalists was the concept of venture industrialists, right? And these were basically bigger companies like the Hewlett-Packards, like the IBMs, that actually were willing to put strategic money into smaller companies which can potentially become much bigger growth assets in the future, right? And to do that at an arm's length, where you don't stifle them, keeping them inside your company as another department, and then you run them by monthly, quarterly financial targets and reports. Innovation is not going to happen. Entrepreneurial flourish is not going to happen if you were to ask weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual reports. So you got to give that arm's length, and you got to have a lot of trust in their abilities to build something much bigger than what will have happened within the confines of a large company. So the speed, the cost, the ingenuity, and the scale at which startups can innovate is unmatched, right? And then, so to that entrepreneurial innovation force or engine, you add venture capital, you get possibly the biggest force humanity has ever known in terms of bringing in transformation, bringing in development, and so on and so forth. So that happened primarily with companies going out and spotting innovators, entrepreneurs, and putting money into them. And then the whole venture capitalist bandwagon, sort of caught on to that model, and then they scaled it up a few million times or over. So in short, we in Tamil Nadu have that advantage. We are endowed with a very large, a very deep footprint of industrial base. We cover various sectors of manufacturing, everything from the very advanced aerospace, defense to automotive, and then we also have telecom. We have the specialty chemicals. We have petrochemical activity happening. We're getting into various FMCG products, and of course with a lot more of higher value addition than just being component suppliers or captive manufacturers to both Indian OEs or global OEs. So we really have gone on from being a small player in a global or in a regional supply chain in, let's say, South Asia, to actually connecting to the global value chains that pan the entire globe. So while that is happening, I think there is a lot more of opportunities that we can look at where the bigger companies, we have Lucas TVS in the audience, we had Mr. Santanam from Saint-Gobain, we have, there's no dearth of big companies that are in a 50-kilometer radius to where we're sitting. And if all of those companies can really embrace open innovation, bring in startups, bring in entrepreneurial innovation, and then put money into those endeavors in any form, could be a grant, could be a seed investment, could also be, let's say, I'll give you money, why don't you come and pilot your products and solutions, and to see if that can move the needle in terms of improving the operating performance of my company, my bigger company, and then giving them pathways to commercial expansion and scale and so on and so forth. So there are various ways in which a bigger company can partner with startups, and I think that is a huge opportunity which we can tap into. And maybe I leave it at that. But again, thank you for the opportunity, and hope we all can play a very small role in turbocharging Tamil Nadu to $1 trillion economy by 2030. Thank you.